So now we look at some important density and distribution functions. First we concentrate on the Gaussian distribution and density function. So let x is a continuous random variable. And this fx of x is the probability density function of the random variable x. Okay. So this particular random variable x is said to be a Gaussian random variable when the probability density function is given by 1 upon this value this is e power minus 1 by 2 . So this is the expression for the probability density function of a Gaussian random variable. Okay. So this x is said to be Gaussian when the probability density function of this particular random variable x is given by this much. Fx of x is equivalent to 1 upon under root 2 pi sigma x square e power minus 1 by 2 x minus mx upon sigma x whole square. So here the quantity sigma x must be greater than 0 and this mx. So these two are some real constants. Later we see what are these constants. In the third unit we discussed about the statistical averages. That is, we perform various operations on the random variable, single random variable, to find the mean, variance, covariance, and all these things. So here, the sigma x is the standard deviation of the random variable, and mx is called as the mean value of the random variable x. So let us assume these are the real constants. Then this particular expression fx of x is the probability density function of the random variable x. So this is called as the Gaussian PDF, the Gaussian probability density function. So let us find the fx of x. If we know the probability density function, so we can find its CD, the cumulative distribution function. Actually, this particular density function is first developed by De Moivre, and then later Gauss and Laplace. So these two worked on this particular density function. So that's why the name Gaussian. Actually, this is the name of the mathematician Gauss, and the same name is given to the density function. Okay, or the random variable is called as the Gaussian random variable. Okay. The probability density function is given as minus fx of x. We can find the CDF fx of lambda d lambda. Is it right? This is the relationship between the CDF and the PDF. If you know the CDF, by differentiating the CDF, we can find the probability density function. If you know the PDF, we can find the CDF by integrating the probability density. Here, we substitute that value, we get minus infinity to x. This is 1 upon 2 pi sigma x whole square, and this is minus 1 by 2 lambda minus mx. That is, we are replacing x by lambda, because here we have written fx of lambda. Therefore, this is sigma x whole square. Understood this? Now if you observe this particular integral, there is no closed form solution for this particular integral. We cannot find a closed form solution for this particular integral. So then how can we solve this integral? So in order to solve this, we need to use the numerical methods. We can use the numerical integration or some other method. Then we can find the solution for this particular integral, or we can calculate that integral. Right. But the numerical analysis is a tedious job. So that's why instead of using the numerical analysis, we can use pre-calculated table of values to find this fx of x, or to find the value of this particular integral. So now we see how can we evaluate this integral by using the pre-calculated table of values. One way is you can use the numerical analysis. Numerical analysis is a laborious job, and we need to use a personal computer to perform the integration numerically. So that's why instead of using that numerical analysis or numerical integration method, we can solve this integral, or we can integrate this particular integrand by using another method. So for that purpose, we define a new function and try to find this Gaussian CDF. So this is the Gaussian probability density function, and from this we can evaluate the Gaussian cumulative distribution function. So why we need to study the Gaussian probability density function? What is the reason? Enough we can tell. Most of the physical phenomena which are random in nature can be modeled by the Gaussian random variable. Take for example the noise voltage, or the voltage that is generated across a thermally agitated resistor. So when the resistor is thermally agitated, charge particles move randomly and they constitute some current. So when the current produced by these charge particles, or the current that constituted by these charge particles is varying randomly, definitely the voltage drop across that particular resistor will also vary randomly. So that voltage or current of a thermally agitated resistor can be modeled by the Gaussian random variable. That is, if you let this x is a random variable, then the values that are taken by the voltage across the resistor, thermally agitated resistor, can be taken by this particular random variable, and the random variable can be modeled as a Gaussian random variable. Similarly, in the beginning classes, we discussed about the noise. That is, the main constraint of the main constraint of the communication system is noise. So the noise can also be characterized by this Gaussian probability density function. Similarly, if you want to find, or if you want to calculate the IQ of the children, then that you can find the IQ, or you can perform some measurement, you will get some values. Then if you draw the probability density function of that particular random variable, that will look like the Gaussian random variable. So therefore, in most of the fields of science and technology, we find the various phenomena in which the random variables can be modeled by the Gaussian random variable. So that is the reason why we are concentrating on this particular special density function called as the Gaussian probability density function, or simply Gaussian density function. In some textbooks, it is denoted as GPDF, the Gaussian probability density function, and similarly Gaussian cumulative distribution function, and the corresponding random variable that we consider is called as the Gaussian random variable. That is the reason why to consider a particular special type of function which is called as the Gaussian probability density. So before going to find the cumulative distribution function of the Gaussian random variable, so let us plot the probability density function of the Gaussian random variable. We already know the expression for it, and we try to plot it. Try to give the graphical representation of the Gaussian probability density function, whose expression is given as 1 upon under root 2 pi sigma x square e power minus 1 by 2 times x minus mx by sigma x whole. That is the expression for the Gaussian probability density function, and the constants mx and sigma x are some real constants. Normally that mx is called as the mean value of the random variable x, and sigma x is the standard deviation of the random variable x. So let this is the values that are taken by the random variable, and the density function fx of x is taken on the vertical axis. So the maximum value of this fx of x occur at mx. That is, when x equivalent to mx, you see that expression, you will get 1 by under root 2 pi sigma x whole square. So this is the expression for the value of the function at x equivalent to mx. That is, the maximum value occur at and when you move away from mx, then the fx of x value will decay like this, and the shape of the Gaussian density function is like a bell shape. It is a bell shape whose maximum occur at x equivalent to mx, and if you move away from the mx value, actually this mx is called as the mean value or average value. So if you move away from it, the value of the density function go on decrease. So if you let this value is mx plus sigma x, and this value is mx minus sigma x. That is, I am moving away from the mx value. So mx plus sigma x is the next value of mx. Mx minus sigma x is the before value. So what is the value here? See, here it is symmetric. From the shape of the function, it is very clear that it is symmetric with respect to mx. Is it? So when you move away from the mx, its value drops to 0.606 of the maximum value. You verify it. You substitute the value x equivalent to mx plus sigma x, x equivalent to mx minus sigma x. You will get 0.606 divided by under root 2 pi sigma x. That indicates when you move away from this, it go on decreasing. At x equivalent to mx plus sigma x and at x equivalent to mx minus sigma x, its value is same because it is symmetric. Then we repeat. Similarly, if you take one more value, what will be the next one? Mx plus 2 sigma x, mx minus 2 sigma x. It go on decreasing. So this is the graphical representation of the probability density function. Suppose here the random variable x is the Gaussian random variable, and the corresponding probability density function is called as the Gaussian probability density function. Understood? The shape is a bell shape, and the random variables that we encounter in most of the random phenomena will be of this shape. Now try to find this fx of x. So fx of x, we already written the expression for it. This is minus infinity to x. This is, we write the same expression that we already written. We are using the fundamental relationship between the probability density function and the CDF. E power minus 1 by 2 x minus mx Actually we used the lambda, so let it be lambda, because after integration the right hand should be function of lambda. So here the left hand is function of x, right hand should also be function of x, not lambda. We are integrating with respect to lambda. If you substitute the limits, it will be a function of x. So here let us take this lambda minus mx by sigma x is equivalent to something. So let us represent the CDF in terms of some other function. I already mentioned the closed form representation of or closed form solution of this integral is not possible. So that's why we are using some function whose values are already given. So that's why first let us represent this fx of x in terms of any new function. Then we can use some table to find the fx of x values. Okay. So if you make the substitution in the above integral, when lambda tends to minus infinity, we will take minus infinity. Okay. And when lambda tends to x, p tends to x minus mx divided by sigma x. And similarly, d lambda is equivalent to sigma x into d. Is that right? See here, d lambda is equivalent to sigma x into d. Is it? Why? Because what is mx? Mx is a real constant. Therefore, this fx of x is minus infinity to do one thing. I can take that value outside. And here I can write 1 upon under root 2 pi. And this is minus infinity to, this value will be x minus mx sigma x. And here we have e power minus 1 by 2 t square. Is it right? Well, that sigma x square, when you take out from the root, that will become sigma x, and we have the sigma x in the numerator also. Sigma x dt. Sigma x get cancelled. Keep this in a box. Again we come back to this expression. So before going to see how can we evaluate this, let us take this expression. I call this as some equation 1 and let it be 2. Okay. In equation 1, we let mx equivalent to 0 and sigma x equivalent to 1. Well, we are letting the mean value of the random variable is 0 and its standard deviation is 1. So this process, that is when you assume mx equivalent to 0 and sigma x equivalent to 1, then x is said to be normalized. So that's why the Gaussian random variable is also called as the normal random variable, or the Gaussian density function is also called as the normal density function. Then what is fx of x? From equation 1, this will be integral minus infinity to x. This is 1 by root 2 pi e power minus 1 by 2 lambda square. So let this be 3. And one more thing. So when you let mx equivalent to 0 and sigma x equivalent to 1, instead of writing this function as fx of x, I simply change this to f of x. Instead of calling it as fx of x, I am given a new name to it, because when mx not equivalent to 0 and sigma x not equivalent to 1, I designated it as fx of x. So in this special case, I assume mx is 0 and sigma x equivalent to 1. So instead of calling it as fx of x, call this as simply f of x. Now compare the equation 2 and 3. Compare the 2 and 3 equations and write fx of x in terms of f of x. Can you do it? So therefore, this fx of x from equation 2 can be written as f of x minus mx divided by sigma x. Understood this? That is, I considered the CDF and normalized the random variable by letting mx equivalent to 0 and sigma x equivalent to 1. Then we got a new expression. That new expression is given as f of x. So therefore, the CDF, the Gaussian CDF of the random variable x can be calculated from this f of x. But actually, what is this f of x? This f of x is 1 by under root 2 pi minus infinity to x e power minus 1 by 2 some lambda square d lambda. So that integral is called as the error function. So this f of x can also be called as erf of x. Then how can we get these values, the values of some f of something? So these values are already calculated and we can find the table of these values. So you will find the table of the values of this particular function at the end of the textbook or somewhere, and we can get the values. For example, if you want to find f of 1.1, you can get from the table. F of 2.5, you can get it from the table. So this is the table. You can see, if you have the textbook, you can see the page number 418 of the tables. Page number 418. So this is the table. So from this table, of course it is not visible. Okay, you can take the values from this particular table. Let us assume if you want to find f of 0. The f of 0 value is given as 0.5. If you want to find f of 0.4, so its value is given as 0.6554. Like that you can find all the values. In the examination also it requires, if you want to solve a problem using this table, this table will be supplied to you in the examination. So instead of using the numerical integration, which is tedious, and instead of solving that integral directly, because which has no closed form solution, we can use pre-calculated values. For example, if you want to find fx of minus x, so this can be obtained from the same expression, so 1 minus f of x. So these two expressions are important. First expression, this one and this one. So this is the function so-called error function. I think you might have studied about the gamma function. Have you studied about gamma function? So if you see the integral, it is similar to that of the gamma function. So there is some similarity between the gamma function and error function, ERF. That function is named as ERF, that is error function, ERF of something. So we define, or we already have the probability density function of a Gaussian random variable, and from that we calculated the CD of it. Because we already know that the relationship between the probability density function and the cumulative distribution. If you know the CDF, by differentiating CDF we can find the PDF. If you know the PDF, by integrating PDF we can find CDF. Write down a simple problem. Write down. Find the probability of the event. Find the probability of the event x less than or equivalent to 5.5. Find the probability of the event x less than or equivalent to 5.5 for a Gaussian random variable, for a Gaussian random variable having for a Gaussian random variable having sigma x equivalent to 2 and mx equivalent to, understood the problem? You have to find the probability of the event in which the random variable x is taking the values less than or equivalent to 5. How can you do it? This is probability of x less than or equivalent to 5.5. Here the random variable is the Gaussian random variable. So this can be written as fx of 5.5. Is that right? Fx of 5.5, which is equivalent to f of x minus, what is x here? 5.5 minus mx is given as 3 and sigma x is 2. So how much you will get? F of 1. Now you see the table and tell the value. If you have the textbook, page number 418. Page number 418. Find the table value of f of 1.25. How much? 0.89. Have understood how we calculated the probability of the random variable x that is less than or equivalent to 5. Strictly speaking, we have to perform the integration and we have to solve that integral, but we cannot find a closed form solution for that integral. That's why we are using some table of values. For that purpose, we define a new function. The new function is the f of x. So therefore, in terms of f of x, we have written the CDF fx of x. We write down, repeat the above problem. Repeat the above problem with sigma x equivalent to 3, mx equivalent to 1. Repeat the above problem with sigma x equivalent to 3, mx equivalent to 1. Same problem. F of 1.5 value. How much? 0.93. 0.933. You do one thing, you take some problems. In the textbook you have some example problems. You solve those problems. Then you will get the A. And the derivation is very important. That is, we obtain the CDF from the PDF. So now we see one more density and distribution function, which is widely used in communication theory. That is uniform density and distribution functions. And the corresponding random variable is called as the uniform random. Here density and distribution are nothing but probability density function and the cumulative distribution function. So these are the standard density and distribution functions. We encounter these functions in various subjects that we encounter in the future classes. Especially the Gaussian random variable or the Gaussian density and distribution function we find everywhere. That is in all the science, all the fields of science and technology. So there are lot many phenomena in which the random variables that arise in such random phenomena can be represented by or can be characterized by the Gaussian density function or distribution function. And the corresponding random variable is called as the Gaussian random variable. So this uniform density or distribution function is widely used in the communication field, so which you will study in the later classes. we already discussed in the beginning classes itself. We discussed about the communication system and what is the need for study of this particular subject. So in communication theory and in other applications also, we find this uniform random variable. So if you let x is a continuous random variable and its density function fx of x is given by 1 upon b minus a for a to b. That is, x is lying in between a and b. Here the assumption is b is greater than a, and this is 0 otherwise. And these a and b are two arbitrary real constants. Because here we are discussing about the random variable which is real, and the density function fx of x is also a real function, and the two constants b and a are also real, some arbitrary constants, but they are real. So this is the definition of the uniform probability density function. So if this is the density function, the corresponding random variable x is called as uniform random variable, or random variable that is uniformly distributed. So this term, we use this term in the later classes also, uniformly distributed random variable. That is, and the random variable density function is equivalent to 1 by b minus a in the interval a to b, 0 otherwise, and the corresponding random variable is called as uniform random variable, or it is said to be distributed uniform over the interval a to b. That is, from a to b, distribution is uniform. That's why the name uniform random variable, and the corresponding density and distribution functions are termed as uniform density and distribution functions. So if you plot this as a function of x, so this is the graphical representation of the density function, that it is a and this is b. So from a to b, this is equivalent to constant that is given by 1 by b minus a. Why? Because the two values b and a are constant, definitely the difference b minus a is constant, and this quantity is a constant. Therefore, this value is equivalent to 1 by b minus a from a to b, and in the remaining interval, this is 0. Therefore, there is an abrupt rise at a and abrupt fall at b. So this is 0 for the remaining values. Okay? Understood? That is, we simply represented the mathematical function graphical. So this is called the graphical representation, and this is a functional representation. So once you know the probability density function, can we find the distribution functions? So we have the relationship between the CDF and PDF. The integral of PDF is the, now tell what is the value here. Already written there, must be 1. Otherwise, it is not a valid CDF. If you have considered a cumulative distribution function, definitely it must satisfy the property that we studied. It must be 1. See, if you differentiate this, can you get this? Let it be 1. Differentiate this. We integrated this, we got it. Now go in reverse direction. We take this, differentiate it. We should get it. So if you differentiate, this is constant, so this is 0. And when you differentiate a constant, you get 0. And what about this? This is a straight line passing through the origin. What are the points? A comma 0 and this is B comma 1. Find the slope 1 by B minus in the interval A to B. That's what we are getting. Understood it? Therefore, when you integrate this, we will get this. If you go in reverse direction or if you do the inverse of it, that is differentiate this. Now, come back to the previous slide. Now tell the value. What should be the value? From A to B, it should be how much? Because it is linearly increasing. You see the function that I have drawn, it is linearly increasing from A to B. That is, it is a straight line. You know the point? Can you give the expression for it? X minus A by, that is X minus A by B minus from A to B. That is fx of x. And you can verify, see, at x equivalent to b, what is happening? It is becoming 1. See the plot. At x equivalent to b, it is becoming 1 and it remains same. Because fx of x value should not be greater than 1 and it should not decrease. So, definitely it already reached the maximum value at b itself. At x equivalent to b, it reached its maximum value. So, definitely it should maintain that value continuously. So, therefore, this property is satisfied, this property is also satisfied, and this is also satisfied. Is it? See, if you just move away from b towards left or towards right, this condition is satisfied. Is it? Fx of x equivalent to fx of x plus epsilon, condition is satisfied. And what is the another condition? Fx of x is greater than or equivalent to x, because it is a probability. Fx of x is probability of x less than or equivalent to x. Is it? Probability function must be non-negative. So all the properties are satisfied. So therefore, this is the uniform density function that we obtained, and the corresponding CDF is